This season of So You Want to Run a Restaurant is brought to you by Localizer.
In today's market, the difference between a full house and an empty one is discoverability. And Localizer makes sure your restaurant actually gets found.
Yeah, by making it easy to manage all your online reviews, you'll boost your ranking on Google, Yelp, and even the top delivery apps. And more visibility means more customers walking through your door.
Turn your great reputation into real growth. And as an added bonus, listeners of this show get a 25% off discount on your first 3 months.
Learn how at localizer.com/podcast. That's LOCALYSER.com/podcast.
Hi, everyone. I'm Claudia Sarek.
And I'm Spencer Michael.
And this is So You Want to Run a Restaurant, created by the team at backofhouse.io, the most trusted resource for restaurant tech. Today, we are diving into conversations with Chef Carlos Lopez Muñoz about his seriously amazing restaurant in Chicago that showcases authentic cuisine from the Istmo region of Oaxaca, Mexico.
Yeah, and what's really cool is that Ismo isn't just about the food, it's an extension of his story. He grew up cooking with his grandmother, left home to pursue soccer in a semi-pro league in Finland, of all places,
Wow.
and then came back around to his first love, the kitchen.
Yeah, and not just any kitchen. He went on to work with some really heavy hitters here in Chicago. Carlos Gaitan, the first Mexican chef to earn a Michelin star, and James Beard Award winner Rick Bayless, which is a huge name in Chicago and even beyond. I mean, that's some serious training ground.
Yeah, it really is. And what he's doing now is weaving all those experiences back into his roots. Many of these dishes are inspired by his grandmother's recipes, and even the decor is personal. With family mementos throughout the space, it really feels like you're stepping into his story as much as his restaurant.
Yeah. I love that it's not just a restaurant, but a celebration of his culture, the memory of his family, and his family's recipes. So let's get into this.
Chef Carlos, welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting me.
Hi, Chef. I'm so excited to have you on today. So, Chef, I read that you started cooking at just 6 or 8 years old with your grandmother. I'd love for you to take us back to that. What was life like growing up in Oaxaca, and how did food shape your early years?
Well, it's all about the memories. I think that's the reason why all the flavors, all the smells, got stuck into my brain in some way, because I was just a little kid, playing around with his grandma, just playing jokes around, smelling all the delicious food that she used to cook. I think that was one of my first connection or interactions with food. Other was when I used to go with my dad to the markets. He used to go almost every morning.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go every morning, obviously, but every time I go, I love to see him walk through all the places, and he knew where to go. All the smells, again, all the noises around the market. Even I could hear Spanish speakers and Zapotec speakers too. You can still listen to Zapotec language in my hometown in the markets, which is something you don't see everywhere now.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that funny that scent, I think I read somewhere that scent is the strongest thing that we remember from our memories, which is why, like, for some people, the smell of crayons and Play-Doh, it like resonates so much. But it makes sense that it would be like the spices of the food that you were seeing in the market and all around you. And because there's a lot of really wonderful spices in that cuisine.
Yeah, and I have a story that I was just talking with my mom last night. I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my mom, like, hey, your birthday is coming up. Invite your friends. I will cook for you, for everybody. I don't really remember saying that, but my mom tells me, I was like, how do you let me do that? I was 9 years old. Like,
Yeah.
do you have a backup plan or something? And
I'm
she
sure
said,
she
no,
did.
I just trust you, and you did a great job. Like, she had her birthday last month. The same friends celebrate her birthday in a restaurant in my hometown. They were talking about that event, like 16 years ago, and they still remember that moment when I cooked for them.
Well, that's awesome.
They say I cook a kind of chicken with spaghetti.
I was going to
and
say, what did you
tomato
cook?
sauce.
Because if everybody's remembering this, I'm like, wow, you were like a genius cooker even at that age. Cooker, listen to me.
I don't remember that exact moment, but I do remember other moments, with my grandma.
That's
Yeah.
excellent.
And I think after that, the other like key moment was when I was in Finland as an exchange student for a year when I was 17. I think like I had to relearn my own culture because nobody from Finland like had experienced Mexican food in some way,
Sure.
or they barely know well, and even from Oaxaca, a very specific region of
Right.
Oaxaca. So I had to relearn my own culture, and I think that makes me want to learn more and more. Was curiosity. I
Yeah.
think that's what triggered my love for food, for ingredients, and all of that. I think after that, I decided to study culinary arts. It wasn't like I want to be a chef. I think it's all started because ingredient, and I wanted to know why. And I think I realized that knowing where the ingredients come from, you kind of travel to through the world,
Yeah.
basically trying different dishes takes you to other countries.
Yeah. I will
You,
agree, by the way, that I lived in London for a long time, and man, you could not get any Mexican food. For all the years that I lived in the UK, it's like you'd go to a Mexican restaurant, you'd be like, this is not Mexican food. But I live in Chicago, and so we've got the creme de la creme, like your restaurant. And so I hear you on that. They just, it's not a, it's,
and you can't get more polar opposite, I would say, than Mexican and Finnish
yeah,
food.
right.
Like it doesn't get
Absolutely,
further
yeah.
apart.
No, it's like 360, honestly. Like
Hmm.
no spice at all in Finland. Uh, with all the respect, from my experience in Oaxaca or from the food that I grew up eating, very plain. Yeah.
Well,
But it's still very interesting.
and let's talk a little bit further about Finland because while you were there, you're an exchange student, but you also played semi-pro football or soccer for the North American audience. You played
Soccer, yeah.
semi-pro in Finland. So, I mean, obviously I'm thinking that's a strange, origin story for a chef, but I would imagine in Mexico, they're like, no, every boy should be playing
Yeah.
semi-pro
Hmm.
soccer at some point. So not strange to you. And I'm sure the Finnish school that you went to was like, there's a boy from Mexico coming. Let's hope he plays soccer. And so, but talk about that because I think for me, I have a sports background as well. And when I was hiring in my kitchen, I would always hire people with team sports backgrounds because it translates so well. When you have to humble yourself to be part of the team to do something that's bigger than what you are, and and the soft skills of showing up on time and bringing energy and all those things that you shouldn't have to teach if you've been through any type of competitive sports you have. So is that true for you? Does that kind of shape how you manage your kitchen and how your career as a chef?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you touch like a very key point. Like, it's not about you. It's about the whole. It's
Hmm.
about in this case, it's about Ismo. It's not about just me cooking my grandma's food. It's about me representing a whole culture. In this case, is Zapote culture. Showcase what we have in my hometown. Showing people that Mexican food, it can be like upscale too. Because I think through the years, Mexican food, the misconception of being very cheap, like I think that's what we're trying to change, or I'm trying to change too, through my food here. Also, like telling stories. I think the discipline also helped.
Yep, definitely.
While I was playing football during high school and going to Finland, I think I joined the fifth league of Finland. We actually won that tournament.
Oh,
So we
nice.
went to the four league, and that's when I left to play like a couple months, and I had to come back to Mexico. But it translated really well. Everything that I learned during my professional pro experience in soccer. It's been hard. The food industry. It's
Mhm.
a rough industry, but if you pick and then you find the right team, you can make it happen.
Yeah. And you also trained under, we're going to get to the restaurant next, and because I really want to dive in on that. But you also trained under some really impressive chefs. So you trained underneath Chef Carlos Gaitan and Rick Bayless. So those are two really, really big names. How did that also affect your cooking style, the way you approach restaurants, and getting to the point of actually opening up the restaurant that you have now?
I feel like Carlos Gaitan was my inspiration on coming from a small town and being in a big city,
Yeah.
and let you know that you have a lot to offer in a big city like Chicago. And I love the food scene here in Chicago, so I felt like I had a lot to offer, especially from my background, and I think I learned a lot of how he translate his food into the Chicago scene, like plating. I think the flavors and the techniques. It's not like I had it nail it, but I obviously learned through the years. But I think that was the key of me learning that from Chef Carlos Gaitan
Mm-hmm.
and Chef Rick Bailey's. He told me how to like get or dig in a little bit more into recipes and learn the background of all the ingredients and tell a story too from that. And you can connect with a guest in a different level by like teaching a little bit. Besides the story behind the dish, there is a story behind the ingredients that are you using on that dish.
I mean, you're telling the story through the ingredients, but also you've got a story about your family and growing up, as we just discussed in your restaurant. So it seems like your restaurant, it's deeply personal, and you're trying to tell the story of your region, the story of your family, the story of everything through your food. So it's not like you've done this yourself, but like how, for someone looking to build that type of story through their own food or their own restaurant, what advice do you have for someone who like stay authentic, obviously, but there's anything that you did specifically to really harness in, like, I need to put myself and everything that's led me to this point onto the plate?
I think knowing who I am, I think, and where I come from helped me, and not just maybe in the food industry, but in any other industry will help you a lot to understand who you are and be true to yourself. Because sometimes I find myself in that moment where I know some dishes will sell a lot, but those dishes doesn't represent who I am. So I just flip the page and try to find another dish. I talk about this with a couple of regulars here at the restaurant, and one of the guests told me, "Don't dumb it down. Just keep what you're doing." I think that's the key of Ismo, where I truly try to express myself too in all the dishes. Try to teach a little bit of who we are in Oaxaca to everybody, and I always try to touch tables, try to drop a dish, tell the story behind the dish, so they have a better experience.
Technology decisions can make or break a restaurant. That's why restaurants turn to Back of House, your guide to smarter tech strategy. From point of sale systems to online ordering, labor tools, and guest engagement platforms, Back of House helps you cut through the noise with expert insights, comparisons, and best practices. Don't just buy tech, build a strategy that grows your business. Visit backofhouse.io and get the clarity you need to choose the right tools for your restaurant. Yeah, and I think that helps people identify with the restaurant and find
100%.
Really, really feel more deeply embedded in the restaurant experience, because I don't know, on this show we talk about restaurant experience all the time, but sometimes it's not about the showy stuff. It's actually about the really deeply personal stuff like you're mentioning. So the decor, the plating, the art, the stories behind each recipe. And I know that I also saw on your menu that black mole seems to be a real centerpiece of the menu. So talk to us a little bit about that people that might be unfamiliar with that and how that's played a role in some of the development of the dishes.
Well, I think black mole, it's one of the most representative dishes from Oaxaca, and it represents like all the immigration that happened in Mexico as well, all the spices that came from all over the world, the nuts. So I think the collection of all of those ingredients represent who we are in Mexico. And I always tell the story of kind of like an analogy of mole and life. And I will tell you later that. But
Are you
this
sure you
mole,
don't want to tell us now? You could tell us the mole and the life story if you want.
100%.
well, I find mole kind of like life in general. I compare life with mole because there are a lot of layers in the mole. Obviously, there are too many layers in life. You have some sweet ingredients, sweet moments in life, bitter ingredients in mole, bitter moments in life. I think when you bring all those together, you have life, right? Like you have
How are you not going to
really,
tell that
really
story? That's I love
Yeah.
that.
and it's that story I always have in my mind. That's why every time I make mole, I take the time to roast these ingredients. And I feel connected with my grandmas, and I pay homage to both of them because in Mexico, everybody has their own mole recipe.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom and my grandmas, they had their own recipe. And one of my grandmas was from my region, and my other grandma was from another region of Oaxaca, from the coast. So her mole was a little spicier, and my grandma from my hometown was a little sweeter. She used a little bit more chocolate. And so I tried to blend the two of them, and obviously I add my own twist. So you have a pretty good well-balanced mole, which you have some sweetness first and then the spiciness kind of build while you eating.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the staple dish of the restaurant right now because it represents everything. It took me like 5 years to get this
Oh, wow.
recipe done. I wasn't making it every day or so, but I make it like once in a while.
Sure.
And now I make it almost every week, and it brings me back to my hometown. It kind of not like therapy for me because I take the time
Nice.
to cook every single ingredient.
There's nothing more ingredient heavy than a mole, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Like it is when you start reading the ingredient list for mole, it's like I don't, oh my goodness, there's a second page? Oh no.
It's so good though.
But it's so delicious,
a
right?
good mole is just
Yeah.
the creme de la creme, man.
And you need those bitter moments in life to your life's mole is made up of
appreciate,
everything. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good Hallmark
Absolutely.
card, I think. Yeah.
Spencer's holiday card
That
this
will be,
year,
exactly. I'm
everyone.
going to write, the bitter moments are just
yeah.
another moment of your mole of life. Or,
You're
I love
first,
that.
folks.
exactly. Yeah, Carlos, I'll
Trademark.
sign your name at the bottom. Yeah.
I love
Okay,
that.
well, yeah. All right. We're getting off the rails here.
Yeah, right. So when it comes to menu development, like staying on this thread, what would you say to other restaurateurs who are trying to balance authenticity with accessibility for new diners? Because I hear you saying, I want to try to really remain authentic to everything that I'm doing. But I would imagine that, again, you're also trying to cater to, the Chicago audience and the Chicago crowd and maybe a different people that have maybe never tried this food before. If anybody else is interested in doing more of a culture enthusiastic restaurant, what advice would you give them?
I think you should do your homework in terms of like study the culture you're trying to showcase.
Yeah.
Go not just back 10, 20, 30, go back 100 years to the culture and you will find so many crossovers in all over, no matter what culture you're looking into.
Yeah.
You will find a connection from one in Africa to one in South America. And it's just amazing. And I think that's the key. Study it. If you have the possibility to travel to that area or the country you're trying to showcase, go and dive into the market and get lost there and find yourself again there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So your business partner, Juan Carlos, he brings his own expertise from the churro factory, spelled with an X,
Great.
URRO. And so I know, Claudia, you have tried the churros.
They're
And-
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have tried them.
not the-
They're
yeah.
outstanding.
Good.
Okay, you said it. I didn't say it.
No, they really are. They're so crispy and you have to get it though when they're really, really hot. And that is,
Yeah. And they're like made a la minute. That's why he's known for the good churros. He doesn't sandbag any churros.
got it.
Like
got
that's
it.
why sometimes they take a little bit, and you see a line because they're made on spot. Like
Yeah,
they
they're
don't.
Yeah.
worth
Worth
it.
waiting
Spencer, when
for.
you come to Chicago, we're
Yeah.
getting you a churro.
100%. Yeah.
And I think that's the key of his business too. He
Mhm.
doesn't prepare or pre-make the churros just to save some time. He makes it right or make it twice, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves it because
Wow.
they're just perfect, if you ask me.
Yeah, they are.
Perfect. The perfect churro in Chicago. I can't
Perfect
wait.
churro in Chicago, yeah. I try a couple churros in Mexico City and in Oaxaca, and none of them are as good as the one from churros.
Ooh,
Really?
that is
Yeah.
a bold statement.
Have you told the people
Yeah.
making those
Yeah.
churros
I
like,
might, I might
just
get
so
a
you
little
know.
hate from them, but or maybe I didn't try it in the right place in Mexico City, right? That
I mean,
could be it too.
Yeah, it could be. I feel like you get a good mix though there. I mean, I
Mhm.
don't know though. But anyway, go ahead, Spencer.
So, partnerships like this with when you've got Juan Carlos Churro Factory, and this can make or break a restaurant. So when you're looking to partner with somebody, what's advice for you for a restaurant operator that maybe wants to combine their skills into one area, or they're making, maybe opening their first restaurant and they're looking to partner with someone who can add a little bit of something different, a different perspective to it, and just sort of collaborate successfully? What kind of advice would you have for someone doing that?
I think he focused on the business and I focus on the food. I mean, we both bring a lot up to the table from business perspective. I think he's obviously has more experience than me. He's been in the business for like 15 years. I think when you're looking for a partner to build a restaurant or anything in general, I think trust comes first. You have to know the other person and his values too as a
Yeah.
person. I think we share a lot of that, a lot of the values and our philosophy too. And I think he also comes from a good family. I met them before, so I think seeing his parents, I can tell he's a good person overall. I think his skills of he's very analytic too,
Right.
and he knows the market, he knows the seasons, and he's always looking for good prices and quality. So I think that's also the key of our partnership too. And you have to look for things that you might be lacking too, and what makes you weak, but with the other person will make you stronger and learn, like you can
Yeah.
teach, you can learn from the other person too. I think like we fit from each other in all the ways. I think that's the key of a partnership. And always telling the truth, and be be clear on everything. Always discuss if you have an idea, bring it to the table, talk it
That's
through,
good.
always and hear the other person too
Yeah.
before like acting to something, just hear it out.
Yeah.
When restaurant operators get into it for the first time, maybe there might be this romantic notion of what it's like to operate a restaurant, and the reality kind of slaps them in the face a little bit that there's a lot more that goes into it than just, obviously making delicious food and providing great service is one, but man, I think you're probably picking up some things about how to negotiate a lease properly and what happens when your
Yeah.
dishwasher breaks, who do you call, and and managing your costs, even at a high-end restaurant where you're ordering in some incredible ingredients that you have to source out, but there's still cost that you need to worry about, and managing your staff. So are you picking these things up? And I think you're also freeing each other at that point to say, like, I can just focus on the business, whereas Carlos could just focus on the food. But are you picking things up in that regard about maybe the next time when I might go on my own or open the next place, I can start picking on some of the business acumen aspects of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the negotiations in every step of building a business. I think that's what the part of when Juan Carlos brought to the table. I mean, I do an amazing food, right? I cook really good food, but if I can get that food to the other point, what's the
Mm-hmm.
point? And I
Mm-hmm.
think he helped me a lot with that, sorry. Negotiation, yes. How to talk to the landlords, what to expect from the chambers of commerce, how to get a license, everything. I mean, he did it, yeah, like 10 times already.
Yeah.
So he already knows every single step, and I learned a lot from that too.
Yeah.
That's
Well, it
great.
sounds like you two balance each other out really well. So, and I guess for my last question here, so Oaxacan cuisine is gaining a lot more recognition globally, I've noticed, and I'm wondering how you see yourself contributing to that movement and telling the story of the region through food. So, any other projects that you guys are dreaming up or thinking about bringing to life in the future?
I don't know if I can tell a couple of them, but
Ooh.
Nice. All right.
no,
We
there's
love to
one that
spill a good secret on this show.
hopefully nobody steal it.
You can give us the
No,
theme.
but
You don't have to tell us exactly what it is.
no, I'm actually I've been writing a book since 2015, 16.
Oh, amazing.
Uh, Obviously, the book changed every year, but always focusing on telling the story of immigration, because now it's a hot topic too,
Right.
but it's been hot forever. Oaxacan cuisine, I think everybody's been a little more adventurous, so they're willing to try more regional or specific cuisine from a specific region or specific city, and that's helping us too to kind of spread the word around. People that goes to Oaxaca they're excited to try Oaxacan food again. So that's what brings them here to Istmo. And I think that's one of the projects that I have. It's write a book about Lebanese or Middle East influence in Oaxaca and how that impacts Istmo in other ways, you know.
That is fascinating.
Wow.
I would love to read that book.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to Oaxaca in a couple of weeks to do a little more research on that
Uh-huh.
because they're a small community of Lebanese people in my hometown
Mm-hmm.
that I talked to them since I was little, and I didn't even realize they were from different continents. It's very interesting when you like go back in time and read how they actually found Oaxaca in the first place
Yeah.
and the reason why.
And some of those influences. That's really neat.
That is, there. We'll talk about polar opposites because I went to university in Edmonton, Alberta, where there's a strong Lebanese population there and incredible Lebanese food. I think it's maybe like this is the coldest and the warmest parts of North America that we're hitting, where the Lebanese just found their way and were able to celebrate their food. So it's incredible you say that.
Yeah.
And there are actually some dishes in the menu. My inspiration come from Lebanese families. You're more than welcome to come to Ismo anytime you have a chance.
I would love that. I
Yeah,
can't
me
wait.
too.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, of
Jeff.
course.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Carlos.
you
Thank
being
you for
on.
inviting me. Thank you for bringing this space for me to bring or show or share a little bit of who I am and who we are in Oaxaca. You know, just share the culture.
It's our pleasure entirely. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
So You Want to Run a Restaurant is created by Back of House, produced and hosted by Claudia Sarek, with Nick Florick as executive producer. Marketing by Hillary Young and Ashley Dunn. Creative by Manisha Kishenchand. And live production by Sarah Heemstra. And of course me, your co-host, Spencer Michael. For more information, visit backofhouse.io/podcast.